There he is, joining us from out there in, around British Columbia in that Washington area. I don't know exactly where he is. He's never sent me a pin drop thing, but he's out there. TSN's Farhan Lalji. When you look out your window right now, what do you see?
I see sun. It actually, we've had some rain earlier this week, but it's cleared now. It's actually beautiful. It's going to be like 15 degrees today. It's going to be awesome.
See, we're temperature-wise, we're the same. But is there kind of hills and mountains and lush vegetation?
Oh yeah. There is that. There's no flatlands or wheat fields. There's mountains nearby. There's snow-capped mountains. There's all sorts of good stuff.
Well, see, everything's melting here. So if you squint, we have there's garbage piling up in the ditches and beds and old Christmas trees and couches and love seats. It's different. It's all, hey, we're all proud to be Canadian. All right.
It's all right here, buddy. This is what matters. How you feeling in there?
Yeah. Well, let's not go there. That's for my therapist. I texted you this morning and said, "Oh, we got to talk about the flag football games tomorrow." And you were like, "What flag football games?" I have a hard time believing that you didn't know this was going down tomorrow.
Well, truthfully, I did know it was going down, but when you said flag football, I automatically turned to Nathan Rourke and his sojourn into the men's flag football out here in the Lower Mainland. I'm like, you're not actually expecting me to go watch Nate play flag football, are you? And then Colson just told me that Suits is going to go do it. Suits used to play in that league, as did I. So, I don't know what that says about Nathan's, what he's going to be dealing with there. So, actually, sorry, let me take that back. I played in the touch league. Yeah. Nathan's playing in the flag league.
Yeah, well, I played against Dominguez and Lance Frazier, and Wes Cates has some good stories. So, but that was the men's touch league as well, and then the flag league is really taken off. But this game, let's start in Los Angeles. I am so intrigued. I can't tell you, because in the back of a lot of the NFL players, current and former, they're thinking, I would like to make a run at this. I would like to see if I could play in the Olympics. There is no doubt about it. Whereas Team USA, and we've been around flag football, I think Team USA could absolutely smash these guys.
I think they could too, because those guys know what it's like to play flag football. Now, that doesn't mean I think that version of Team USA should be the team that represents the United States in the Olympics, because the only reason it's in the Olympics is because of the NFL and their desire to get involved and brand their athletes. So those are the players that should be playing. I get that the flag football folks think that, well, we're the trailblazers, we're the ones that set this up. Nonsense. This is NFL marketing, right? So, but as far as the game tomorrow, look, it depends on the guys, right? I mean, Tom Brady at 48. You bet he's going to want to win, right? He's going to want to prove to anybody out there, whether it's Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow on the other team, or whether it's Jalen Hurts, or whether it's Hoosh, I think that's the name of the quarterback for the U.S. men's national team, that he's still the GOAT, right? I saw some video of him today on NFL.com, and he can still pick defenses apart. So I think that'll be there. But then, there are some players that are just kind of doing this for fun. Gronk's only going to take it semi-seriously. You got players like Von Miller, a defensive lineman, who's going to be playing in this. That's not going to be part of what flag football looks like at the Olympics. So, can OBJ still play? We'll see. Saquon Barkley's in it. There's a bunch of names that are worth watching, but there's also enough of the older guys on these teams that make you think they'll take it a little less seriously. But that national team's going to be all in.
We've all been that uncle, that dad, that whatever. You're out at the family reunion potluck, or you're out at the cabin on the beach, and someone fires up a beach flag slash touch football game. Well, I'm gonna go have some fun. You want to get out there and you want to win, and I want to play. And you know what? I want my nephew running a double out on my son and basically pantsing him. Get it? I want that. So I have a hard time believing that the only time I think they could be like, take it easy, is when they know they're beat, and it's like, well, I can't compete in this. If there's maybe one or two guys that you're really intrigued. For me, obviously, it's Tom Brady. I'm really curious to see that. I'm curious how they're going to work the quarterback. If they're going to go 2 quarterbacks, are they going to do anything there? And I'm really curious on how they use Gronk, because he is a massive body. And if you get anywhere down in the goal line, I don't know what the USA's tallest guy is, and he's going to be athletic, but Gronk's a massive body. I'm very curious about those 3 things, Farhan.
Yeah, I think it's fair. And, the one that intrigues me, you mentioned the 2 quarterback thing. And I'm curious because when I look at NFL rosters, the guy that I think is the most obvious flag football player for Team USA at the Olympics is Jaden Daniels. So whether you have him at receiver and you run him, as a double pass guy, or he's just scrambling around in the backfield to get the ball out, that's kind of the guy I want to see. And yes, there's the Brady factor, but Brady's not trying to play for the USA in the Olympics. And, when he gets down to the goal line, I'm sure he's still going to have some chemistry with Gronk. It hasn't been that long since those guys played. So they're still going to have that. And you are right. As long as the games are close, I think it stays competitive. If all of a sudden, whether it's on a specific play or on a specific, if one team gets behind, to your point, then, maybe one team will start having a bit more fun for psychological preservation reasons. But I think the one player for me truly is Jaden Daniels, because he could actually be a guy that plays for this team at the Olympics. I mean, does Devontae Adams want to do that? At this stage of his career? Maybe. I don't know. OBJ at this stage, he didn't play last year. I don't know. So, but Daniels is the one that intrigues me.
Curtis on the text line says Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. You better believe it.
I'm into all the competitive stuff till the running gets involved, right? If I'm playing quarterback and I throw a pick, I'm not chasing that guy down. You can score. It's okay.
I found out last year when I played, it's just that instinct of trying to beat the rusher, and I blew my groin. And I was like, oh, that was quick. That was one and done. So no, so you want those competitive juices. I get that from coaching it now, from coaching flag and playing competitive golf where there's money on the line. Other than that, it's like Achilles, groin, hamstring. It just goes on and on and on and on. And the games, the other thing too, that people, it's going to be really good because people don't really get the game. And I've talked about it a lot on here just because I love it. I'm just entrenched in it. But people are going to really get an idea of how quick a flag football game is and how small the field is, Farhan.
Yeah, you're right. It is tight. So you've got to be able to put balls into windows, but it is 5-on-5, right? So you've got to, you've got to be able to also push the ball down the field. You'll see a lot of, 3rd and long, and you can just get a touchdown and get the whole thing back on one play. So there is part of that, but these guys have to. There is nuance to this game, right? They even have different terms and different moves that they use in flag, to drop and flip your hips so that you can avoid a flag, as opposed to how you avoid a tackle in actual padded football. So it is different, and that's why I think those guys that are on the national team have every opportunity to have a lot of success in this event tomorrow. And again, I don't think they should be representing the U.S. at the Olympics, because that's not what it's about. But I think they can have some fun, and I think those guys more than anything are going to want to make a point.
Okay, so this Nathan Rourke thing, what do you know about it? Because you're kind of friends, or you know Nathan.
Yeah, look, I think more than anything, this is just Nathan trying to prepare. Look, Nathan this past year has learned to take himself a lot less seriously than the Nathan Rourke we had a year ago and the Nathan Rourke we had before he went to the NFL. But, at the same time, he does want to prepare. He wants to play for Canada at the Olympics. He wants to do well. And I know that he believes that if this can help him get used to the smaller field, to your point, and, the rules of the game, I think it's a good thing, right? And I get people telling me that, you're going to worry about injury. No, you don't. Not if you're a quarterback, right? If you're a receiver or DB and you're playing in this game, absolutely. If I was an NFL team or a CFL team, I'd be worried about that player getting hurt. But as a quarterback, I don't see that happening. So if he's going to go out there and have some fun, great. If he was in another position, guys would definitely try to measure themselves against him. But he's got, Dallas Dixon's a local receiver here who played at Simon Fraser and went to a few NFL camps, so he's kind of put the team together, and they've got some pretty decent players around him, so it's not going to be chopped liver, but I don't think he's going to get hurt, and I truly think he wants to prepare. There'll
be so many people with cameras out there. Watch the social media channels that afternoon.
If you intercept Nathan Rourke, someone's posting that. You know that.
You might get interviewed. We might have to. We might need to contact. We might interview them on Monday, Tuesday here on the Sports Cage. Suits will button it all up for it. I think there's going to be a lot of this from guys, from CFL players or guys that want to make a run at this. And Paul LaPolice is going to say, okay, well, you ever played flag? Like, we need you to play some flag football. Here's the contact for a team in the Mississauga area, the Montreal area, the Regina area, whatever. We need you to go out there and maybe see if you can play. The injury thing, I'm of the point, as soon as you start going there, then you're never going to get out of that hole. It's sports. It's life. You could get injured.
Yeah, look, I'm going to disagree. Look, if I'm a CFL team and I'm paying this player and I've invested in this player and we need him, we've built a team and a roster around him, I'm not looking for that chance. Right. You can sit there and, like, if you want to be a CFL player and you want to practice, like, you can still get into a setting with your own teammates and just run plays and learn techniques and make it a little less competitive, but you're playing against, better football players. There are ways to prepare and there are ways to learn, right? And if Lapo wants to have a mini camp and have it, small field size, and you can assure teams that you're not going to go 5-on-5 in a scrimmage setting and we're going to have it totally controlled, then Football Canada can put that together. But I'm not looking for guys to get hurt doing this. It's why guys have in their contracts that you can't snowmobile and that you can't cliff dive and you can't do all of this kind of stuff. They have this in professional contracts for athletes. So I don't know why this should be any different. Again, quarterback's different because they're not running around. They're not going to get hit. They don't have to contest the ball. But for the receivers and DBs, if I was Jeremy O'Day, I'd be saying, heck no. And you know who's going to try to get him in? It's going to be Len Antonini. I know my guy Len, because he's probably running Regina Minor football, and he's trying to put flag football things together. If I was Jeremy O'Day or Corey Mace, I'd be calling Len and say, stop now.
It'd be more Mike Thomas. He's the flag football guy. But yeah, Len's got his hands all over football in Regina as well. And that's why in Suits' contract, they had no, that's why he had to teach scuba diving in the Cayman Islands. He had to do something that was safe back then. I really think you can get hurt doing whatever. You could get hurt running with your buddies 5-on-5 or whatever. So we'll agree to disagree there and just hope no one gets hurt. It's athletics. You're running on turf. You never know what can happen. What else? Was there a trade in the NFL today?
Yeah, Sidney Brown got traded to from Philadelphia to the Falcons, right? So that's one of note. Obviously, he's a Canadian, grew up, I believe, in Mississauga, but in Ontario, and he and his brother, we know Chase Brown's a running back in the NFL, and Sidney, who probably had the more accomplished collegiate career, right? He was a higher draft pick, and early in his career, he had an injury and it caused him to miss half a season, and then by the time he got back in, and you looked at how the Eagles were kind of looking at the roster a year ago, it felt like they were kind of working past him. So for him to get a new opportunity in Atlanta with an opportunity to start, I think Sidney Brown's a really good football player, and I think he'll make the most of it. But you kind of get one opportunity in a lot of franchises, and he had his one, and they decided to get some value out of it instead.
When over under 2 years that we're at 18 games for the NFL?
I think they're trying real hard to get it like by 2027, right? And some interesting news today. I saw Mike Florio talking about this on Pro Football Talk, but J.C. Treader, who's now the new head of the NFL Players Association, they're having the conversations with the NFL, and I think that there's a real possibility that that this could happen by next season, that you get to 18 games. But the interesting twist on it is, to get this to pass, there was a suggestion that maybe you max every player's cap at 17 games. So even though you've got an 18-game schedule, and again, it may not happen this way. They just may open it up altogether, but I think it's inevitable we're going to get there. And they're talking about 16 international games within all of that. Maybe we'll get one back in Canada at some point. I don't know, and I don't know that it really matters. But they do definitely want to get this game global at all parts. So, to have every team take part in at least one international global game, I think is something they want to do. But when you look at it, and they've gone to the CFL, teams have gone to the CFL previously. When they first expanded above 16 games, they've gone to CFL teams, and they've talked about how they manage a season and how the players get managed. And this could lead to 2 bye weeks. And as a result, the Super Bowl in Atlanta in 2028, they don't even have a date set for it yet. because they don't know when the Super Bowl is actually going to get played, because 18 games and 2 bye weeks and the impact that'll have on the schedule.
Very interesting. In closing, have you watched much of March Madness?
I have, yeah. The upset yesterday, High Point knocking off North Carolina. North Carolina with all those turnovers at the end, just brutal. And what was the other one? Kentucky and Santa Clara, right? Interesting one there, because Santa Clara scores. They hit a 3-pointer with, I want to say, 4 seconds left. And when they give the ball to the inbounds, before the ball gets inbounded, the Santa Clara coach is trying to call timeout to set up defensively. They don't give him the timeout. Kentucky comes back and hits a buzzer beater and winds up winning the game in overtime. So they pull it out. Duke almost loses. They pull it out. North Carolina can't pull it out. So there's been some interesting games in March Madness. You know, my daughter, who is totally into women's basketball, has got me watching women's basketball. So I watched Washington play this morning against, I think it was against St. Louis. Gonzaga just got pummeled. So Idaho got pummeled. So some of the teams kind of in our region that we know kids that are playing on, we're having a chance to watch a bit of that as well on the women's side. But the women's side has fewer upsets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a little more chalk. A little more chalk on the women's side. I watched. I was with my boy last night, and we put it on before we watched my daughter play on a feed, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is a North Carolina," and then VCU's coming back. They're coming back, and then just that last 15 minutes of real time of theater and everything. He was glued to it. He played basketball in elementary school, and he was just like, no, we got to keep it here. Like, we got to see. And he's not sprinkled on the game. Like, he's just like loving it, right? The theater of it all is pretty exciting. And I talked to a guy today, because he heard me talking about it yesterday. Being in a Las Vegas sports book, the first weekend of March Madness is something everyone should have on their bucket list if you're just a sports fan. Just watch people go cuckoo bananas out of places you've never heard of, like High Point. Like, what the heck is
VCU. Hey, did you see that student radio people? Like, they actually had a student radio broadcast for High Point, and these guys were unreal. You should
Colson
look it up. They were like on every bucket, just the energy. These guys are going to make it big, but they got a lot of attention for that. And then VCU going 12 of 15 to close out that game. So a lot of good basketball. This is the weekend to watch, right? I mean, you don't need to watch the Final Four. You need to watch opening weekend.
Colson, you have that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm working on it right now.
Yeah, we'll play it later. It's and then I think it was the coach of High Point, and just
he shouted them all out.
Yeah, jeez, that's good stuff. All right, go enjoy your sunshine and your mountains and your lush vegetation, and we'll keep rolling here. If you need
you want me to turn the camera on? I can show it to you.
No. If you need to use sofa or anything like that, there's a few on Ring Road here. Now that the snow is melted, I'll send you some pictures. Talk to you next week, Farhan.
Have a good weekend, guys.